What is up, all my inspiring people out there? You are not going to believe what we got going on today. We got the Trace Reyes podcast, three kings up in the building. I believe it would be an awesome opportunity to get to introduce my roommates and kind of as we talk about our experiences in college and, kind of how we wanted to be able to, make sure that we grow a connection with you is, we're just going to be kind of sharing our thoughts over our 4 years, and hopefully you're going to be able to take something away from this, apply to it in your life hopefully you can apply it in some way, shape, and form. I love these guys, and they have impacted me so much in my life, and I would love for you guys to get to know them a little bit, and Trace Reyes podcast coming at you live. So Austin, Ricky, I would definitely say what's up, say how you feeling today, and give us a little temp check. How we feeling?
Feeling good, man. Thanks for having me here today. Happy to be here. First podcast for me, so
yeah,
should be a good experience. Looking forward to share some insights and knowledge for everyone, and should get this thing rolling.
Yeah, when you guys know me, the great one and only Rickster Trickster. I go by many names, Sauce Monster, but it'd be a good one to have all three of us. We've been rooming with each other for a couple years now, and we've been through so much together. We're very opposites, as you can see, very distinct races, if you guys want to think like that. Very different personalities, but we all vibe and we all get along very well, and hopefully this podcast is a little entertaining but a little more informational as well.
I think let's start there. All right, I'd say that we would want to dive into definitely sharing some of our experiences, but let's share some of our first experiences with each other. Rick, what was your first impression of Austin? And you can do the same with me, and then we'll work it backwards.
I guess I'll start with Austin, because it's a very different one, and then.
Different. Talk about it. What makes it different?
So we came into the house, the Evans Scholar House, as sophomores, right? So we didn't have our freshman year. We were freshmores, is what they call us, freshmores. But I met him the day before school started, sophomore year, and I see this kid. I'm like, tall white boy. And I'm like, oh man, dude, I know for a fact he's like this douchey, frat personality, hat backwards, He was pretty cut, and he was just like, oh man, hopefully I don't get into any fights with this kid, man. But that was my
first impression. Ricky was looking for fights.
that was my first impression of him. I'm like, man, this is gonna be an interesting semester, and I think that's a good way to kick it off to him, because he had a almost similar persona to what I had. So kick it off.
I would say it was pretty similar for me. Kind of always being looking a little younger, kind of having the baby face growing up. I was like, man, this guy looks like he's maybe 5-10 years older than me. He's got the tattoos and everything.
Oh,
and I think he had the earrings. He had all the jewelry. I'm like, man, I don't know, I did not think I was going to be tight with this kid, but it just took one conversation, and I realized I'm like, wow, that is really true, to not judge someone based off their looks and by a title.
And the only reason I gave him a shot is because I know Devian before the freshman year. We went to Hawaii together. And I asked him, hey man, who are the cool kids around here? He was like, I don't know yet, but there's this one cool kid. He's like, it's Austin. And I was like, who is that? And I was like, told him, I was like, don't tell me he's that white kid, man. He was like, yeah, it's exactly that kid. And then I guess that's where Dev comes into play with all three of us. So
yeah, I would definitely say my first perspective of Austin was kind of like we were playing basketball, because at the Evans Scholar House we kind of have a hoop outside, and it's kind of culture to play a little basketball with each other, and we leaned into it heavily, and that was something that I really truly embraced, because I love competition. So Austin, really wanted to guard me, and I really enjoyed the competition and just kind of being able to go back and forth with each other. Iron sharpens iron, and I feel like that was a huge perspective that I really enjoyed, because if someone is seeking out me, then I'm happy in being the person that I am, that they can know that they can go and challenge me. So I like that. I'm a person that likes to be challenged as well. So I was like, challenge accepted. And
I remember that game.
Challenge accepted.
I remember that game like it was yesterday, and I was like, I think I called him out, and I was like, I'm taking
challenge
him.
accepted.
I'm taking him, Because I was like, I had some friends back in high school. I'm like, and they thought, they were legit. They were all that.
Oh yeah.
I was like, all right, I gotta humble this kid, bring it down a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's kind of what kind of got us all connected was, man, like our competitiveness to succeed and win, man.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a dynamic trio. I say.
Oh yeah, for sure. Las Vegas, baby.
Las Vegas, 3 teams.
3 teams.
Yes, sir.
I think it's definitely fun to kind of reflect on our times with each other. Let's think of, oh goodness, I would want to ask you guys also as well. We got to get first impressions of Austin, but we never got to go completely around. So in terms of these experiences, maybe Rick, you can talk about your experience and first time going to Hawaii with me and kind of what first impression was, because Ricky and I became really close, but we never got to hang out until we went to Hawaii with each other. So that was a huge first impression.
Yeah.
And then talk about your first impression going to Hawaii with Austin, because you have true genuine friends when you can travel with each other. That was something that I kind of got to understand and learn growing up from other people older than me, peers, mentors, and things like that. So what were those first impressions like?
Yeah, so with Dev, I never met him before until he showed up at the doorstep of my house. The day before we were going to go to Hawaii, we had a group chat together of all scholars. And all of a sudden, Dev hits up the scholar chat. And he was like, "Hey, does anyone want to take a road trip? I think we wanted to go to Cali or something like that for a few days or something, like a week, I think." And then the next day, he DMs me on Snapchat. He's like, "Hey, how does 5 days in Hawaii and 4 nights in Hawaii sound like?" And I'm like, "Okay, bet."
No thought, just
no thought.
Okay, bet.
Just like that, no thought. And the next day I was booking tickets and he was getting the Airbnb.
Yep.
And then I came back from Mexico, and then that's when we kind of just went to Hawaii. I've never met him in person or anything like that. I called him a few times, but he showed up, and then it was just the rest was history, man. It was just kind of one of those things that we just kind of clicked together. Very, very similar personalities, very outgoing, and so we were just very spontaneous about everything, and that's kind of what I like. I don't always plan things out like that, and I just like spontaneous journeys.
And I like kind of plan spontaneous events, kind of, if that makes sense, I like to plan when I have spontaneous experiences. And Ricky leaned into this one with me. I truly believe that, the first day that we were there and we got to experience with each other was a really nice one, too. We had some good food. We had some good beach time. The picture of that on Ricky's lock screen is the picture that he took while we were in Hawaii with each other. So
this one right here, Hawaii, right here, the beach. So it's kind of a nice one.
It's it's something that we always like. I tell Ricky, I owe him another trip to go to Hawaii. It's got to happen. It's bound to happen. So and then definitely the last day that we were with each other, we hiked a 0.7 of a mile kind of trail all the way up this huge mountain, and just kind of being able to have those fun experiences with some close friends on the island with us too. I think that was really fun as well.
Yeah, it was definitely a different one, because I went with Dev and I actually got stuck in quarantine for a couple of days because my COVID results didn't come in on time, so I was just in the hotel. But nonetheless, I still made the most of the last few days hiking. And then when I went with Austin, it was junior year spring semester. It was a spring one. And it was also another one of those things. You're supposed to go to Cabo the week before spring break, and that fell through for particular reasons. But then he was like, "Hey Rick, how does spending the spring break in Hawaii?" And I'm like, I was like, "Let's go, man. Let's do it." And so that's the type of person I am. And then thankfully I surround myself with people that kind of keep me in check and are very responsible. I'm not the most responsible person when it comes to things like this. But when I went with Austin, it was a very nice one.
Not the very most responsible. Well, Ricky's we'll give it to you honest, straight up. I love it.
That's why we went together.
That's why we went together. No, I think the best, the way that they both described me is that I'm the roommate that kind of is there to remind them to not take life too hard, not too seriously. They enjoy
not too
small
serious.
Things, because we all work pretty hard in our own aspects, and we all grind within whatever we do. But in terms of just more laid back and kind of doing things, I'm the one. Guys, come on, let's go. Let's just relax a little bit.
Yeah, I know in high school too, man. We all had different mentalities, different mindsets.
Yeah.
And when I came to college between Dev's energy and Ricky's spontaneous fun side, man. he really taught me that, you know, school and the books isn't everything in life. To really
Yeah.
enjoy like that
Yeah.
healthy balance, you
Yeah.
know. And I'm thankful for them both, you know, all the time for that, because, you know, I've had some really good memories here at college, and, you know, a lot of them are because of them. So
Oh yeah,
it's been some good times.
many adventures for sure.
I would say, like, in terms of our relationship, all right, I know there's a couple different, like, trios of people, duo friends. Maybe there's some people out there that are still trying to find their friends, but what are, like, the kind of keys to success to having a strong relationship with friends? You know, just kind of some pointers, some takeaways maybe that you can share with people that have friends, but, you know, want to grow maybe a stronger unity within each other, because I feel like our unity and what we like the how we kind of commit to the cause of each other, you know, I think is really special. So
Right. I feel like I could start us off with that. I feel like a lot of people, they tend to find people who are very similar to them, and what's unique with all of us is we all bring some kind of diverse background. You know, we're all different, all unique, and, you know, with that authenticity within each one of us that we bring, it really does kind of create, like, for a challenging atmosphere, you know, for all of us, I feel like. But I feel like that's just so important, because that we are so different, but we all come together and we share those same interests and those same goals, you know.
Oh yeah.
So to be able to do that is so important. And we've even had people ask us too, like, you know, you guys are all so different. Like, how are you guys, like, such close friends, you know? And I just tell him all the time.
even his mom asked that question to us too.
Yeah, and which is true. You know, you don't usually see, you know, three different guys like us, you know, like, kicking it together. And I just feel like at the end of the day, like, we all share those core values. You know, Ricky and I, you know, really, you know, we're all really big family people, you know, and we have the same goals, like I said. So those are like the big factors that keep us all together and makes us so dynamic.
And I think to kind of piggyback off of him was just being different. And the reason I kind of chose Michigan State to come here, not only because we got the full ride, but also because I wanted to get away. I'm always a big part of trying to find more of myself. And the only way you could find more about yourself is by putting yourself in environments where you're not used to, very different environments. And I talk with them all the time. I was like, that's why I kind of came here, is because I wanted to seek a new persona of myself, or just find something new of myself.
Right.
And that's kind of why I feel like we all got the same kind of mentality, just putting ourselves into environments where we're not used to, because it forces yourself to adapt. You know, humans are natural adapters. We got to adapt in some way, shape, or form.
And I'd say, like, you know, piggybacking off of that, like, a lot of my success in terms of finding my purpose in life and connecting to who I am and who I want to be and the person I want to be for other people, you know, came from, you know, developing different versions of myself in different environments, you know, because you are either a product of your environment or you're reacting in your environment, you know. So people either react with you, or because of your environment, you'll be a product of that environment. So I felt like truly, because of different interactions, people kind of tap with you. You know, you have to kind of jump in the deep end and find new people, new places like that. So I'm happy that we all came in with each other, because I don't know if you know this, but within our scholarship, a lot of Evans scholars from Illinois, they typically go to Illinois schools, or maybe more West schools, Wisconsin, Iowa, things like that. So to have these two guys as my roommate, like, you know, I'd say the probability in that of ever happening, of having such, you know, dynamic all-stars. These guys are champions. Like, they truly, these, you know, their experiences. I mean, I love being around Ricky all the time for all the stories of triumph that he always faces in life. And Austin, you know, he kind of is a will never back down type of person. He's a Hercules, I feel like. I just really love their kind of determination, their willpower. It's kind of unmatched. So to be able to live with you guys is super special. You know, taking away from our experiences, you know, what is like one or two experiences that you're thankful of that we've had together and we've been able to experience, you know, one or two experiences that you're thankful that we had this experience with each other?
I think for us is like the experience for me that I'm very thankful is just taking those trips that we like to travel to different universities just to kind of see a new environment, just to kind of see how different scholars live at different universities.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those things that we just kind of do on the spot. Like we're just gonna do it, and we're just gonna figure it out on the way. Because as long as we got each other, man, we got three different minds, three brilliant minds. That there's no way you can fail. You got all three of us kind of working for the same solution.
Yeah, I mean, we're all so about networking too, and and connecting. So all of those trips and being able to explore other Evans Scholar houses, I feel like has been huge. You know, in building that community outside of Michigan. You know, it's been pretty amazing meeting these people with you guys, and given like all of our diversity and all of our different mentalities, I feel like we really could connect with anyone and really build like strong relationships. So it's been pretty rewarding, doing it with you guys, and I look forward to doing it more in the future, and even facing those challenges together, because there have been some challenges that we've faced all together as the trio, and I feel like we've learned a lot from each other, and we've been able to.
But I can't let you off the hook, though. Ricky gave us an example, but you have to give me something different. You can't just say the same thing as him, though.
I just feel like give
me a specific experience. Like Ricky gave a very open-ended answer, which I'm okay with. But you got to give me something. Yeah, you got to give the people something else. Come on.
Well, I mean, I've had different experiences with each of you guys, so it's kind of created it's created a different relationship with each one of you guys that I can kind of bring all together. I feel like So whether it would be traveling on those trips with you guys or whatever it might have been, like I don't know, I feel like it's just been important. I don't have a specific example right now.
It's very hard when you go.
There's been too many to choose from.
It's so hard, especially when you spend like 4 years together, and you spend like every day with each other.
Yeah.
There's like so many stories that you can talk about. Where it's one of those things where you go 10 years from now to barbecues. You go, remember this? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You can spend like an hour talking about that. You spend another hour talking about this topic. There's like so many things that I feel like you really can't depict one certain aspect about it, because it's like we spent so much time with each other that there's so many memories to go by. It's like looking over a dictionary.
Yeah.
There's so much information that we've gone through, so many things that we've gone through, worked together as a whole.
Yeah. It is really like a culmination. It would have been crazy to be able to document some of those things, but I feel like just those experiences are one of a kind, and I'm happy that we still can move forward from here and talk about them and highlight them. Be able to reminisce on them and to share. I think being able to have some takeaways is that go through experiences. Based off of coming together through commonality. I always feel like when we talk about this, we're so driven in a society where diversity, race, inclusion, things like that, and I asked this question when I was at my internship this past summer. I asked all of the HR kind of heads, the leads, and I was like, should the theme and the culture be, driven by our diverseness, or should we come together through our commonalities, And this was a question that had even executives kind of thinking, and I love this question. And I think the way that we look at it is we come together through our commonalities, and I really love that, because the same things that we enjoy, it might be 5 to 6 or 7 of them, we can list them all off, but at the end of the day, for all the reasons at which we can look at ourselves for being diverse, I think we really hone in on the reasons why we're why we have a commonality with each other. And I think that's what a lot of people can take away from too. So lean into your commonalities with your close friends, find ways to latch on and know more things about them. I feel like we listen to understand each other a lot of times, so I think that's huge as well. So
and I think one of the biggest things why we're so close is because I feel like in any relationship, whether it's with your parents, your girlfriend, whatever, boyfriend, friendships,
siblings,
I think the biggest thing is just listening. I think that's one of the biggest things I talked about in our other podcast with Dev, is that I'm very thankful now that I have people I can lean on to so they can listen to me, who can hear my cries. These two men right here, young wealthy men in the future, they've heard me say so many things that when I'm done saying them, they're just like, wow. And it's just so hard for me to say stuff like that sometimes, because it's a new environment that just talking about certain things and certain aspects that to them it might not relate to, but it's something I gone through, something that he may have gone through, something and he may have gone through. I think a big part of a relationship and any type is just listening to one another because people need to be listened to. There's secrets behind closed doors that everybody needs to hear about, and just sometimes you just need to get out of your system. When I first started talking about my life to these two young gentlemen, I was very thankful because it just made me feel better about myself to actually just have people who will listen to me, who will like question me about, hey, why would you do that? You know, I was like, I don't know, I was so lost, I was so
coming straight from a comm major, you know, coming straight from a comm major.
It's just like just listening. Communication is just like one of the biggest things in anything, and I feel like us three are the epitome of that because we just listen to each other. You be quiet and you just listen to somebody whenever they have something to say. So I think that's why we all connect as well, because we're very good listeners. We're very good interpreters of listening from each other.
Just understanding how important it is to listen. I mean, you think about it, you're going to be doing a lot more listening than you are speaking. 2 ears versus 1 mouth is kind of mentality, you know. And I feel just being so close and being comfortable sharing those things with each other, I think is important too, because, you know, to be able to like get that stuff off your chest and whatever, you know, your problems might be become my problems. We're facing these challenges together. You know, we're all one.
Right.
So
that synergy, that unity, like, and I mean, I don't think enough guys are having this conversation either, to be honest. So it's just kind of nice just to kind of put this out there because these are things that we lean into. You know, this is what makes us stronger as men. You know, so like, and as individuals as well. But knowing how to buy into something like that, I think it's huge. And again, I feel like it definitely should be something that, like, if you're looking to connect like deeper with like some of your friends, like let them know that, like, look, you know, like, homie, I got your back, you got mine. Like, you know, we can ride the waves of life together. You know. I think that's what we do is we try to have fun on the waves of life. We definitely do.
And we hope people can find this, you know, impactful and benefit themselves because just to be able to find your voice and find people that you can do that with is huge.
And then I think another thing before you turn it over to like the next topic or whatsoever, I think another thing is that we know how to challenge each other in the right way. I feel like that's a big part. I feel like, and also in any relationship as well, is that finding people who you can challenge, who challenge you to make you think differently, who challenge you to maybe change your ways for the better. And I think we're not afraid to speak our minds to each other because I know it's coming from a true, genuine heart. There's plenty of times where they've told me some things and I'm fudge, man. I'm like, I hate hearing that, but it's the truth. It's the truth.
Not what you want to hear, but maybe what you need.
What you need to hear. And I think that's what we're so good at, is because there's so many times in here when we're just like we get into like arguments, but it's just because it's the arguments you need to have. You feel me? Arguments build stronger bonds with each other, and I think that's what we have good. We're not afraid to speak our minds to each other. I think that's what's going to carry us for a long way.
I always remember that you promote in public and you kind of, you know, correct in private. You feel me? So it's just kind of like having those boundaries as friends and knowing what they are, I think is huge. So I think we crush all those things, and you can crush them too with your friends. I really hope that you guys were able to take some things away from a little bit of our journeys and, you know, some of the first stages of kind of how we met. I really enjoy being able to go and think about some of these moments with each other because, you know, not a lot of people kind of have had the same experiences as us, you know, and getting able to get a glimpse into that, like a microscopic view. I really think you guys paint a great picture for, you know, how it's like to be us and, you know, what it's like to live as the Three Kings. I think this is a really nice start to a long journey that's beyond, that will grow and scale beyond what we've been at so far. So, turning it over into a different category.
I have a quote for someone, actually, for you guys out there who can maybe ponder on, but I'm going to say that creating the product is really hard and challenging, but creating the machine that creates the product is even harder. So I'm going to let that kind of settle in. Think about that.
Being able to learn. You want to put the mic on them?
To apply to our future, you know?
You put the mic what?
Are you going to use it? So talk about the future, what you say?
Maybe like things that we can take from our college journeys, like what we've learned to apply to our futures, you know? and I get like experiences, and we'll kind of
give me some nice quotes.
how are we going to be successful?
Give me you guys this perspective on kind of like I think understand you guys' perspective on your 4 years of college and kind of what it's amounted to, and give me your honest thoughts. Like, I think the last time Trey and I were together, like he was trying to pull up the authenticity of some of these answers, you know. So I'm like, just kind of give you guys the floor, to be honest, and just give me like your really overview thoughts about kind of these 4 years. Yeah. And what they've meant to you, how they've shaped you, but the honesty of, you know, what you know now, if you would have been able to change anything or adapt to anything a little bit differently, you know, some insight and then some forethought.
I think so. I think for me personally, the things I'm most thankful for is, I guess, all the times I'm always getting in trouble for, you know. I think a lot of people and that's what differentiates all of us, you know. I'm the one that's kind of gotten in trouble pretty good amount of time. Pretty good amount of time, but I feel like I wouldn't change anything because that's just me, you feel me? And like I said, I came to college to figure things out on my own, or figure things out with the help of some of these people that came into my life. And I think just getting in trouble, I wouldn't change a thing about it. You know, at the time, it sucks at it, but you know, kind of looking back, I'm very thankful because I feel like we were just talking about this the other day. Every year, there's something that I've gotten involved in.
Some kind of adversity.
Some kind of adversity. You know, some may not have been my fault, but at the same time, there's some adversity that came about it, and we're all about resilience, and resilience is really what makes a person grow as a man, as an individual, as a human being. And
tell me more about your resilience through your experience with these 4 years. Like, give us some examples.
I guess so. So my first example could be like I'm gonna just start by when I came to Michigan State as a whole. My sophomore year, I almost got kicked out of the university because of some academic dishonesties that we kind of went into. And then my junior year, not a lot of people know this, but I actually transferred out of Michigan State and to play some baseball at another college. But then a lot of stuff went down at that college. I'm like, man, the reason I went here was for these people so I could get these connections. And then when I got there, it was just like it went downhill. The program went downhill so quickly, and I was just in the midst of it, and I was like, I got out as quick as I can. I called up some people, and then actually that was when we were supposed to be rooming again last year, and that's when we did. And I didn't give them no notice or anything like that. Like 2 days later, I'm like, hey, can I come back? And they're like, yeah, come back. So they already started making it. And so like it was new to them as well because everything happened within like a month or so coming to school, and it was a big change for me. And I guess when it comes to like the resilience and adversity, a lot of it has to come with not just like physicality of what's happening around me, but it's just like the mental aspect of myself. You know, I've fought so many battles mentally, and you know, it's a never-ending battle. But just surrounding myself with people that I trust and they could guide me to things and the answers that I don't know how to find yet. Yeah,
and I think definitely the biggest thing was you wanted to finish what you started. You know, I mean, tell me more about that.
And so when I transferred out from the other college, I was playing baseball, and I was still playing semi-pro baseball. And this was one of those things that I wanted to pursue. That I wanted to give myself the best possible, I guess, route and avenue to give myself the best shot to keep playing at a high level and a high competitive level. But everything was just kind of stripped away in an instant, and it was just kind of news to me, and I was just so very lost. And kind of like when he talks about finishing what I started, I just didn't really have I don't know how to finish what I started at the time because, like I said, it was just stripped. But then just talking to these two, maybe finishing could be something different. You know, finding a new path for yourself. Yeah. And I think that's really what helped me out. I think during those trials that I was kind of going through in life is just kind of knowing that finishing something is different from when you started. You feel different when you finish things.
It's way easier to start something, you know, than look to do it and even look to finish it, you know?
Yeah, and we had some really long late night, you know, calls and talks, I know, with Ricky, you know, just to talk everything out and weigh out the pros and the cons and what would the future hold and what could we do. Yeah. And I think those calls and those long conversations were needed to help find his light and his direction.
Yeah, because
and all that.
And it's just like it's one of those things. Like I talked to him a lot, and it was just I talked to one person in particular a lot because I gave them so much like BS, and my parents and like this person in particular as well, was that they stick around for so long, but they were just in the midst of all my hell that I was going through because I was lost. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know where I was going to be. I didn't know what to do at certain times. But the thing is, just talking and figuring that out one day at a time was really what was very, very, very impactful for me. And I think that's one of the things that I would probably take going forward, is just when life is going so fast, you got to be able to hone into your own senses and just kind of dial in within your own self and just take it slow life down, because life isn't going to slow down. You got to slow it down for your own self, for your own sake, to be able to regroup your thoughts, and just being able to find people like the ones that I found, the ones that God blessed me with, just to, just slow everything down. I feel like is, I think, one of the biggest things that I can take away from these 4 years as a college student and just as a person in general.
I agree. Just a few things on that is I always believe that I rushed through all these points in my life to get to the good stuff, and then when I kind of got to the cream of the crop, the bread and butter of my life, college experience and things like that, I wanted to kind of slow things down and halt time and look for things to freeze. But that's the reality of things is life still moves on. So it's kind of knowing how to keep your pace without having life trip you up. So your experiences are definitely one for the books. And I know definitely Ricky talks about, this idea of imposter syndrome and kind of not understanding, what your next move should be, or how you would identify those things, Austin was chasing, an identity that was giving him a really hard time for him to actually grab and to make his own. Tell me about your experience in terms of your resilience and making sure that you came to college on a full ride scholarship, and what's that truly meant to follow through on that, and to never give up on that.
Yeah, so coming out of high school, I caddied growing up, just like these two right here. That was our common ground that we had. And I applied for the scholarship, and it's very competitive nationwide. They take about 250 out of over 1,000 applicants. And I really was looking forward to getting the scholarship because it really it directed me to the school I was going to be attending. And I had high hopes and was super excited for it and thought I was a really good candidate for it. But when I found out that I wasn't granted it my first year, it was pretty tough. A lot of grieving with family, a lot of long walks and talks with my parents about how I was financially going to be able to afford college and go to the schools that I wanted.
And how to take a risk on yourself?
Had to take a risk, So thankfully the scholarship allows you to apply 2 years. So that was already my next step, my mentality, my next goal was, I knew I had to go get that my second year if I wasn't going to be successful and fail my first year.
Because you knew that this was the identity and this is the path that was right for you,
Right.
So, how'd you take that ownership of that and then transpiring that ownership into taking this opportunity for yourself? Maybe talk about like the gratitude of, kind of being here in these shoes now.
Right. Like, I feel like I knew that this was for me. This was my direction. So I knew it wasn't the end. And I really have to thank the people that stayed in my corner through it all. Yeah. Because I could have easily had people give up on me and say, maybe this just isn't for him. But, including my parents and my members, my teachers, my friends, everyone, man, they really believed in me, and I think that's what
I love.
That's what inspired me to keep going.
Yeah.
When a lot of people didn't. So really fortunate for that, and obviously with 2020 graduating, we had COVID as well, so that was another big challenge, and not even being at school here. So I do feel like the journey was definitely short for us, only being here for 3 years and losing out on that.
We made the most of our 3 years.
We did.
We made the most of our 3 years, I have to say.
That was the mindset. Like Ricky had previously mentioned, going out of state, we had the same idea of wanting to start a fresh chapter and meeting new people. We didn't know anyone when we came here, and I think that's really that's really made us who we've become
Yeah.
as individuals and outgoing and social people, and building that success in those connections, you know. But that was my big goal was, you know, I'm here for 3 years, but I'm gonna make it worth 4 years, you know. What can I do? What can I do to try and you know, make up for that lost time?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that like I kind of like laugh about just thinking about it is whenever we meet somebody, they're like, "Oh, you guys do so much. You guys are like boom over here. You guys are boom over there."
Yeah.
And some days we have like 10 adventures in a day or 10 adventures in 2 days, whatever it may be.
I agree.
And they're always like, "Well, you guys do so much," and our sympathies, man, we're just trying to make up for lost time our freshman year. We didn't have it. And then I think that's one of the biggest things why people kind of like they gravitate towards us a lot because our social network grew so big. You know, like we know so many people. There's rarely a time where we go anywhere on campus and there isn't somebody that recognizes all three of us or one of us.
Yeah, recognizes the trace Reyes.
Yeah,
we all have like our own communities and our own groups and images, you know. So when we're all together, man, we pretty much represent this university. I feel like, and coming from a small high school, I knew just about everybody, and I did, you know, kind of leave a name for myself, being, you know, a two-time state qualifier for track.
Yup.
I think we were all big athletes, you know, three sport 4 years. So I was driven to try and make a name for myself, and I wanted to graduate from this large university, people knowing who I was and what I did and kind of what I stood for.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I was named Waterford Hero. That was an achievement. That was something that I was able to grab. And I just think that there's been multiple efforts of our community recognizing us. And that's why we say that, like, you grow where you're planted, you know? So what you're planted around, those other seeds, those other roots around you are really important. I just made sure that I wanted to be around the right seeds that were going to sprout the right way and grow the same way as me, you know? Because at the end of the day, we're all going to grow. So it really matters most of who's in your inner circle, who's influencing you, who are you influencing, and, you know, do you guys have a shared common goal? Like, is there a theme? You know, what are you guys really chasing in life? I think we always ask those questions and talk about those things with each other. The best thing is the Instagram group chat, and we're able to kind of be able to talk about our vision, share sweet cars, homes, you know, we get to send each other different content of, you know, what we expect our family lives to be. So, you know, find really true ways to connect with each other. And I love that we have that connection with each other, you know. It's rad, you know, Ricky, Austin, and Dev, the three kings, you know. What more would you want from us, you know, young men on the rise, you feel me? And I feel like wow, young men on the rise, and I really feel like Michigan State has been able to be that place that we can grow where we're planted and truly represent the Spartans' will, you know, and go out and do big things, because that name is going to take us so far. And these experiences are going to take us so far because they really shaped us, you know. So last thoughts, you know, after these 4 years, what would you say to someone, you know, truly, like, you know, let's say we're in at the end of the yearbook, and this is our little quote, this is our little like blurb, like, give me like a couple lines. What would your blurb say after 4 years of, you know, being in school?
I can start us off. I have a couple of things to say to that. First thing, just as far as what I've learned and what I wish I could have done a little differently, and I can maybe advise those who might be attending future university, school, academics, you know.
Yeah.
I would just say to really do your homework, research. Not like homework for class, but, you know,
Ricky hates homework.
I know Ricky's laughing at me, you know, but
Ricky hates homework.
As far as, like, I wish I knew a lot more that our school offered as far as student orgs, clubs, even internship opportunities to get involved in my case,
this is
sports
facts.
industry. You know?
Yep, this is facts.
So, and there's over 1,000 clubs. There's a lot, you know, that people don't know at Michigan State. So I wish I knew a little bit more about some of these organizations that I joined my junior, senior year, and I feel like could have been really beneficial my freshman, sophomore year. So really just understanding everything that a community is going to offer for you that you're going to be spending some time in is key. And also, as far as building those connections, I kind of always believed in this quote that I didn't know could be modified to be better. And I'm going to drop it for you guys.
Hey.
For you all.
Drop it on us.
So everyone always told me it's not about what you know, but who you know. And for a while, I used that quote. I really lived by it. And that's inspired me to connect and talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
But I went to the sports business conference in Michigan a couple months back, and this guy told me, he said, well, he's like, that is true, but I think we could switch that up. And I was like, well, can you inform me? Like, what do you mean by that? And he said, well, I really don't think it's necessarily who you know, but who might know you.
Ooh.
All right. So that was mind blowing. He told me that he explained it. He said, just because you know someone doesn't mean that they know you well enough to be willing to help you out and give you those connections, because a name's a name. But if they don't know you, how much are they really going to help you? Yeah. So that was huge, and get your name out there. I learned a lot about that. Yeah. You can build a connection, but if you don't really make an impact and a presence, how are they going to remember you in the future? 100%.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
And I think just kind of leading off to that is like one thing for me that I would say for sure is like, you hear this all the time, but it really is about being yourself. Being your genuine self. There's a lot of here, especially in college in Michigan State, you see so many people try to be so many different personas. They try to be this type of person for one group, this type of person for another group.
People that they're not,
and that's just like really not.
That's people everywhere.
Yeah, and especially like just right here, especially because everybody wants to fit in some aspect. The only way you're going to fit in is by being able to be your true genuine self, because like no one knows you better than yourself, especially. Yeah, and it's kind of one of those things that you can't keep changing it. You can't keep changing it from the people you hang out with. You can't keep changing it from the teachers you meet or whatever. You have to be your true self, and I feel like by just being yourself, that's the only way you can grow. I say this a lot to them when I was playing semi-pro baseball. Is that I shot for the clouds. I shot for the stars, but I landed in the clouds. But some people are still on the ground. Yeah, and just meaning by that is when you try to grow yourself, you aim so high. And you may fall a little short, but then you look at the progress that you made, and then you look at the people where you started from. They're still the same people. They're still the same. Like, they haven't even grown at all. There's people back at home, some of my friends from high school. And I just look at them. I'm like, damn, man, you're still the same person, man. Like, we've had 4 years to really fine and hone in like how you really want to shape for the rest of your year.
That's self-growth.
Self-growth, and they stayed complacent, and that's kind of one of the reasons why we all kind of chase something that we were not used to, is just finding different answers to, I guess, questions that we might not even know.
And it's okay to shoot for the stars like Ricky did. Have those goals that are a little unrealistic.
Please shoot for the stars.
He still landed in the clouds while people were still on the ground. So if you're setting goals that are too small and you reach them, you're going to limit yourself to that goal and not want to surpass it.
I love one of Austin's best quotes in one of our Motivational Mondays. A major setback is just in line for a major come up, and that was one of his hardest lines in one of my Motivational Mondays. So I truly want to believe that. My take on this is like.
Same with one step back, two step forward. It has to happen.
The way I think about it is like a bow and arrow. When you're falling back, you're falling back, you're falling back. You keep retracting. All of a sudden, you're gonna hit something. Is like a major setback is coming.
Yeah, send you forward.
You launch it. Boom! Look how much progress you're gonna make. It's just all those little failures and all those little kind of trials that you go through is what's gonna set you forward to make tremendous growth.
It's all gonna add up to success.
And I'm gonna be real. My perspective on this is, get your damn money's worth. What are you just waiting for the world to hit you with something? You have to go out there and take it, go out there and anticipate it, My biggest perspective is that we have a scholarship, we have a full ride, which is such a very unique situation, but I'm gonna make the most of this shit. I'm gonna make the most of my life right now. Most of these experiences, most of these opportunities, most of these, different points in our lives to get lucky. I want to increase my lucky meter, but that doesn't come from sitting at home. That doesn't come from being in moments of comfortability. Luckiness happens in moments of uncomfortability and uncertainty, but how many times do you put yourself out there? If you're playing Mario Kart and you expect to hit the box and get a star every single time, you'd be a damn fool, But at the end of the day, I believe that understanding what you've been able to work for is nothing's really given. Nothing has been given to us in our 3 experiences, But if you can really take an experience, take control of your life, take control of your time, and really understand what that means. And I feel like that's what kind of college teaches you. It's how you can take back your life, and in doing so, you take and you give and you serve to other people, and you take for it's much bigger than yourself. I love that, because living with my roommates, I realize it's much bigger than me, and I truly am super blessed to be able to live with you guys. So I'm glad we got the world to see a little bit of who Devian lives with, and how the 3 Kings really were able to take over Michigan State, because we did.
Oh yeah,
right.
Made the most of it.
I feel like it's so easy for someone in our shoes to take an opportunity like this for granted, because we are so blessed to have this opportunity to live in a roof, or given free academics, tuition, free learning, just so many opportunities and resources and people to connect with too.
Yeah. That
I feel we never took that for granted, and that's kind of what made us stand out from other people who may have been in our shoes, or who can't even be, fortunate to say that they've been in our shoes.
Right.
So
we always talk about how we're so unique already from just being able to get the scholarship. I think the exact numbers from when we got it is, I think only 137 got it, and I think 1,300 applicants nationwide. So we already separated ourselves, but how do we separate the 1% from the 1%?
Right.
And that's kind of what we really try to do in different shapes or forms. And I feel like we've all took the necessary steps to be able to classify ourselves to being that outlier in a house like this, because you look at people like this and they're just complacent with just having a scholarship,
right?
And I feel like you could do so much more with the scholarship. And I always talk about having a big voice. We all have big voices and we all share it in different ways, but it's like, how do you find that voice within yourself to be able to go share so you can impact the most people? And we always talk about impacting people. We just want to impact the most amount of people in a short amount of time, because that's all we have. We have just 4 years or 3 years in our case to just make an impact, and I feel like we've definitely make the most impact that we can.
I'd say that even with 4 years, 1 year being online, we still made as much impact as possible. So to this day, we'll still have people connect with us saying, "Oh, I had Zoom class with you. Oh, you made this environment feel much more comfortable because of who you were." This is us. This is the 3 Kings. This is going to be the start to an amazing event. Aspire to inspire till you expire. Right? Hey, we out of here, baby.